She was betrayed by her husband's trip until her son uncovered the murder plot. Then she left and had him arrested for good. Olivia Wilson looked up from the cookbook, spread out on the kitchen counter, and gazed out the window. The autumn landscape of Greenville, Michigan stretched before her. The trees, painted in gold and red swaying in the wind, looked just like a painting. She was well known as a nurse at the local hospital. "Mom, I don't understand this problem," called her 12-year-old son Aiden from the dining table. A math workbook lay open in front of him as he struggled with his homework. Olivia smiled, wiped her hands, and sat down next to her son. "Which one is giving you trouble? This fraction problem? I think I forgot how the teacher said to do it." Olivia gently stroked Aiden's hair as she began solving the problem with him. She could feel her son growing every day. Aiden had the same blue eyes as hers, with a strong intellectual curiosity and a kind personality. She was also pleased to see him starting to grow tall like his father, Robert. As they finished solving the problem, they heard the front door open. "I'm home." A deep, warm voice echoed throughout the house. Aiden jumped up from his chair, shouting "Dad!" as he ran into the hallway. Olivia also stood up, preparing to greet her husband. Robert's handsome features and confident demeanor always drew attention. He took pride in his success as a sales manager at a pharmaceutical company, providing a stable life for his family. "I got to come home early today," Robert said with a smile, hugging Aiden before kissing Olivia. "My last meeting was cancelled." How wonderful, Olivia smiled. "I was just starting to prepare dinner. I made your favorite lasagna." "Perfect," Robert said as he took off his jacket. "How was school today? Did that science project work out?" Aiden excitedly began telling his father about the day's events. His volcano model had been praised by the teacher. He had played basketball with his friend Jason during lunch break, and his words tumbled out without pause. Robert listened intently, nodding, while gently embracing his son's shoulders. Watching this scene, Olivia savored their happiness. Can you imagine making $10,000 a month just from YouTube, all from home? That's exactly what I did with It Stories. No face, no voice. Check the link in the description if you're curious. 13 years ago, when she was working at the hospital reception, she met Robert, who had visited as a pharmaceutical sales representative, and fell in love. Soon after getting married, she obtained her nursing qualification. And even after Aiden was born, she worked hard to balance family and career. She felt that their life in this small town, while not affluent, was filled with love. The family conversation around the dinner table was pleasant. Robert talked about a big business trip planned for the following week. He would be attending an important pharmaceutical industry exhibition in Chicago. "I'll be away for 3 days, but I might secure a good contract," he explained excitedly. "If it works out, we might be able to go to Disneyland next summer." Aiden's eyes lit up. "Really? Do you promise?" "Of course, I promise." Robert smiled as he held his son's hand. Olivia respected Robert's ambitious attitude. He was always working for his family, striving to provide a better life. Sometimes his business trips would run long, but she understood it was for the family's future. That night, after putting Aiden to bed, Olivia and Robert sat on the living room sofa, unwinding from the day's fatigue. "How was the hospital?" Robert asked while massaging Olivia's shoulders. "Busy. It seems like flu season has started and the emergency room was full of patients," she answered with her eyes closed. "But I managed to attend Aiden's school event. He's really growing up." "Yes, he's a wonderful boy," Robert gently agreed. "It's all thanks to you, Olivia. You're an amazing mother." Olivia smiled and took her husband's hand. These peaceful moments were the treasures of her life. The next morning, Robert was preparing for his trip. Olivia and Aiden watched from the kitchen as he packed clothes into his suitcase and organized necessary documents in his briefcase. "Be careful," Olivia said as she handed him coffee. "Call us every night." "Of course," Robert kissed her cheek. "Aiden, take good care of your mom. It's a man-to-man promise." Aiden nodded with a serious expression. "Leave it to me, Dad. I'll protect Mom." The three embraced at the entrance and Robert got into a taxi. Olivia and Aiden stood waving until the car disappeared around the corner. "Now, let's get you ready for school." Olivia placed her hand on her son's shoulder. Aiden looked up at his mother and smiled. "Mom, when Dad gets back, can we go on a picnic? The three of us." "That sounds lovely," Olivia answered while stroking her son's head. "When Dad returns, we'll definitely go." They returned to the house and began their usual morning routine. On the first day after Robert's departure, Olivia woke up earlier than usual. Before the 6 in the morning alarm went off, she was already in the kitchen making coffee. The first morning without her husband always felt a little lonely. In the dim light coming through the window, she was mentally organizing her schedule for the day. "Mom, you're already up." Aiden appeared in the kitchen with sleepy eyes. It was earlier than usual, but perhaps he too had awakened to the quietness of the house without his father. "Good morning, honey." Olivia placed a glass of orange juice in front of her son. "Did you sleep well?" Aiden nodded as he took a sip of juice. "Has Dad called?" "Not yet, but he'll probably call this evening." Olivia smiled. "Are you going to play with Jason after school today?" "No, I want to work on my science project. The one the teacher mentioned about researching space using the tablet." Olivia was pleased with her son's enthusiasm. Aiden had recently developed an interest in space and astronomy. Last month, Robert had given him a new tablet for his birthday and installed several educational apps for him. "Then tonight, while we make dinner together, you can tell me about what you've discovered." After dropping her son off at school and finishing her shift at the hospital, Olivia stopped by the supermarket. She spotted her husband's favorite red wine and decided to buy a bottle to celebrate his return. While waiting in line at the register, she checked her cell phone. There were still no messages from Robert. "He must be busy," she murmured softly. She wasn't worried, knowing he was preparing for a major business negotiation. When she returned home, Aiden was already back, focused on his tablet in the living room. When he noticed his mother coming home, he eagerly showed her the screen. "Mom, look. I collected lots of pictures of Jupiter, and this video explains Jupiter's great red spot." Olivia sat next to her son, enjoying the time sharing in his discoveries. She was proud that he studied diligently both at school and at home. During dinner, Robert called. Olivia answered with a slightly relieved expression. "How's Chicago?" "Busy, but going well." Robert's voice sounded a bit tired. "I had several important meetings today, and tomorrow is packed from morning till night." "Don't overdo it," Olivia said with concern. "Aiden wants to talk to you." When she handed the phone to Aiden, he began excitedly telling his father about the day's events, about his Jupiter project, about what happened at school, his words flowing without pause. Robert listened, making occasional sounds of acknowledgement, but then the conversation suddenly cut off. "Dad, can you still hear me?" Aiden asked curiously. Sorry. I just got another call." Robert's voice came back. "I'll call again tomorrow. Take good care of Mom." After the call ended, Aiden looked a bit disappointed. Dad seemed to be in a hurry. Olivia put her arm around her son's shoulder. "Dad is doing important work. He's working hard for us." That night, after putting her child to bed, Olivia sent Robert a message. "Good night. Wishing you success tomorrow. Love you." There was no reply. The next day passed similarly. When Aiden returned from school, he immediately went to his tablet, working on his homework and space project. Olivia was on night shift, so she prepared dinner early and was getting ready to leave. "Mom, message from Dad," Aiden said, while looking at his tablet. "He says he'll be late tomorrow night. The exhibition has been extended." Olivia felt a little disappointed as she had been looking forward to her husband's return. "I see. Okay. Can you tell Dad? I'm heading to work now." When Olivia returned home exhausted from her night shift, she found Aiden asleep on the living room sofa. The tablet was resting on his chest. She gently lifted her son without waking him and carried him to bed. "Mom," Aiden murmured half asleep. "When is Dad coming home?" "Tomorrow night. It seems he'll be a bit late," Olivia answered while stroking her son's hair. "Are you lonely?" Aiden's question was simple, but it resonated in Olivia's heart. "A little, but I'm fine because I have you." She smiled. "Now it's time to sleep." After Aiden was sound asleep, Olivia returned to the living room and turned on the TV. However, she couldn't concentrate on the program. She was reflecting on her life with Robert. Married for 13 years, their relationship had been stable, but lately she sometimes felt a distance between them. Perhaps it was because his business trips had increased, reducing the time they spent together. Just tiredness, she reassured herself. When Robert returned, they would cherish family time again. Maybe go for a picnic on the weekend or see a movie. With that decision, she finally fell asleep. On the morning of the third day, Olivia dropped Aiden off at school before heading to the hospital for work. "Dad will be home tonight. What would you like for dinner?" she asked in the car. "Steak, Dad's favorite." Aiden answered immediately. "Sounds good. I'll pick it up on my way home." Olivia smiled. "Have a good day today." Aiden turned around at the school entrance and waved. "You too, Mom. I'm looking forward to the movie with Dad." Olivia watched her son go. Olivia finished work and opened the front door with shopping bags in both hands. It was 5:30 in the evening. Still a few hours until Robert's expected arrival time. The bags contained ingredients for a special dinner and a small surprise. Robert's favorite wine and sparkling cider for Aiden to enjoy. She planned to celebrate her husband's return in style. "Aiden, I'm home." In the living room, Aiden was sitting on the sofa, focused on his tablet. When he noticed his mother entering, he gave a slight smile but quickly returned to the screen. Olivia frowned at her son's slightly different behavior, as he would usually come running to her. "What's wrong? Was school fun today?" she called out as she headed to the kitchen. "Yes, fine." Aiden's voice was quieter than usual and sounded somewhat tense. Olivia started taking the steak out of the bag, but concerned about her son's behavior, she returned to the living room. "Are you playing with a new space app?" She sat next to her son. Aiden gave a small nod, but wouldn't take his eyes off the screen. Olivia appeared at her son's face and noticed he had a serious expression, and even appeared somewhat anxious. "Aiden, is something wrong?" "No, I'm fine," he said while continuing to scroll through something on the screen. Olivia was a bit worried, but thinking that mood changes weren't uncommon for a child approaching adolescence, she returned to the kitchen. While preparing the special dinner, she occasionally glanced at her son. Aiden never took his eyes off the tablet, sometimes frowning, tapping the screen with his finger. After cooking for about an hour, Olivia looked at the clock. It was just past 7 in the evening. There was still no contact from Robert, but it wasn't unusual for him to be late. "Aiden, wash your hands. Dinner will be ready soon," she called out. There was no answer. Looking into the living room, Aiden was gone. Olivia was a bit surprised and walked down the hallway, knocking on her son's door. "Aiden, dinner is ready." There was a sound from inside the room, but no response. Olivia opened the door. Aiden was standing by the window, staring outside. The tablet had been left on his bed. "Honey, are you okay?" Olivia gently asked. Aiden slowly turned around. His face was pale and his eyes were red and swollen. He looked like he had been crying. "Aiden, what's wrong?" Olivia rushed to her son. "Mom," Aiden said in a trembling voice. Is Dad coming home soon?" "Yes, he should be. I'm expecting to hear from him soon," Olivia said while stroking her son's hair. "What happened? Were you bullied at school?" Aiden shook his head. "Mom," he started to say but stopped. He seemed to be trying to communicate something, but the words wouldn't come out. "You can tell me anything." Olivia placed her hand on her son's shoulder. Aiden sat down on the bed and took a deep breath. "About the tablet." At that moment, her phone rang. Olivia checked the screen and saw her husband's name. "It's from Robert." She was about to answer. "Wait." Aiden's voice suddenly rose. He grabbed his mother's hand to prevent her from answering the phone. "Aiden, what are you doing?" Olivia was confused. The phone kept ringing and eventually switched to voicemail. Soon after, a notification sound for a new message rang. "About to reach home. There was traffic, but I'll arrive in 10 minutes. Looking forward to seeing you. Love you. Dad will be home soon." Olivia smiled. "Now let's wash up and have a nice dinner." Aiden didn't move. He kept staring in the direction of the window, his hands trembling slightly. "Aiden." Olivia was becoming concerned. Did something really happen? Is there something you don't want to tell Dad? Aiden said nothing, took the tablet from the bed and entered the password. He seemed to be desperately searching for something. "Mom." He began to speak again, but choked on his words. Olivia was beginning to seriously worry about her son's abnormal behavior. As she was about to say something, the doorbell rang. "Dad's here." Olivia stood up. In that moment, Aiden's expression changed completely. A look of terror appeared in his eyes, and he threw down the tablet, forcefully grabbing his mother's arm. "Mom, don't let Dad into the house," he shouted. "What are you saying?" Olivia was dumbfounded. "Let's run away now, please. I'll explain, please." Aiden's voice was shaking with fear. He pulled strongly at his mother's hand, trying to make her stand up. "Aiden, stop joking. Dad has come home. Mom, please." Aiden was on the verge of tears. "Trust me, it's dangerous." The doorbell rang again. Olivia was confused, not knowing what to do. Her son's fear seemed genuine. "I'm going to open the door. You stay here," she finally managed to say. "No," Aiden shouted, grabbing his mother's arm even more tightly. "Mom, Dad is. He stumbled over his words. The doorbell rang once more, this time accompanied by knocking. "Olivia, Aiden, open up." Robert's voice could be heard. Aiden picked up the tablet and pulled his mother out of the room. He dragged her through the kitchen toward the back door. "Aiden, what is going on?" Olivia tried to stop, but yielding to her son's desperation, decided to follow him. "I'll explain. Get in the car." Aiden opened the back door and pulled his mother into the yard. With her head full of confusion and anxiety, Olivia headed toward the car with her son. She took out her car keys and opened the door. Aiden jumped into the passenger seat. His face was streaked with tears, pale with fear. "Aiden, I trust you, but you need to explain." Olivia started the engine with trembling hands. At that moment, a loud explosion echoed from inside the house and the ground shook. Olivia turned around in shock. She could see smoke rising from the kitchen window. "What?" She was at a loss for words. "Mom, hurry!" Aiden shouted. "We need to get away." Olivia stepped on the accelerator and drove off. Looking in the rearview mirror, she saw black smoke rising from her house, the home she had lived in for 13 years. And at the entrance, she could see Robert standing motionless. "Aiden, what on earth?" "Mom, Dad was trying to kill us," Aiden said in a trembling voice. He tried to show the tablet to his mother. "All the evidence is here. His messages, my tablet was synced with Dad's phone." Olivia couldn't believe her son's words. But the explosion from the house and her son's terror-filled expression, she had to acknowledge this was reality. She accelerated the car, leaving the residential area and heading toward the main road. Olivia was driving in a daze. The road ahead appeared blurry and her mind was in chaos. She stopped the car on a quiet suburban street and turned off the engine. Her hands were shaking, gripping the steering wheel. Outside the window, the streetlights flickered in the falling dusk rain. "Aiden." She turned to her son. "What's happening?" Aiden's face was pale and tears glistened in his eyes. He held out the tablet to his mother. "Mom, look at this." His voice was trembling. "Last week, while I was playing a game on my tablet, Dad's messages suddenly appeared. It seems like it was synced with Dad's phone." Olivia's head was filled with confusion and fear, but she looked at the tablet screen her son was showing. It displayed message exchanges between Robert and an unknown woman, Jennifer. Olivia read the name on the screen. She had never heard that name before. "Scroll down." Aiden urged his mother. Olivia scrolled through the messages with her finger. At first they seemed like normal conversations, but as the dates progressed, the content became more intimate. Then, a message from 3 days ago made her blood freeze. "Proceeding as planned. She suspects nothing. Got her to sign the life insurance documents last week. The explosion will look like an accident. The setup is a gas leak from the stove." The reply was even more terrifying. "Perfect, Robert. Once that woman is gone, we can start a new life with the insurance money. Be careful. Don't get hurt yourself." This is Olivia was at a loss for words. The husband she had been with for 13 years, the man she loved and trusted, had been planning to kill her. It was unbelievable. "Mom, I found it before Dad came home," Aiden said tearfully. "I've been thinking about how to tell you since yesterday, but I was scared. I didn't know what Dad might do." Olivia hugged her son. The thought that this 12-year-old boy had been carrying such a terrible truth alone broke her heart. "You saved my life, Aiden," she said, burying her face in her son's hair. The tears wouldn't stop. Suddenly, Olivia's phone rang. It was from Robert. She stared at the phone, paralyzed with fear. "Don't answer it!" Aiden cried. The phone kept ringing, then stopped. Soon after, a notification for a new message sounded. "Where are you? What happened?" The house exploded. "I'm worried. Contact me immediately." Olivia took a deep breath. "I need to call the police." With trembling hands, she dialed 911. When the operator responded, she explained the situation as calmly as possible. She told them about the explosion, the messages showing her husband's plan, and where she and her son were now. "We're sending officers right away. Don't move from your location," the operator instructed. After hanging up, Olivia put her arm around Aiden's shoulder. "It's okay. We're safe now. but her heart was in turmoil. Why had Robert done this? Their marriage might not have been perfect, but she couldn't believe it was bad enough to plan murder. And who was this Jennifer? 20 minutes later, 2 police cars pulled up beside their car without sirens. 4 officers got out and took separate statements from Olivia and Aiden. The tablet was seized as evidence. "Mrs. Wilson, you and your son will stay in a safe location tonight," a female officer said kindly. "Until we locate your husband, will he be arrested?" Olivia asked in a small voice. "The investigation has already begun. The explosion site is being examined," the officer said in a professional tone. "If there's sufficient evidence, an arrest warrant will be issued." Olivia nodded. It didn't feel real. Just hours ago, she had been preparing a special dinner to celebrate her husband's return. Before getting into the police SUV, Olivia looked in the direction of her house. In the distance, she could see red and blue lights flashing, emergency vehicle lights. Her life, everything she had built, was now in flames and smoke. "Mom." Aiden took her hand. "What's going to happen?" Olivia looked at her son. His blue eyes showed fear and anxiety, but also strength. The strength he had mustered to save his mother. "I don't know, honey," she answered honestly, "but we're together, that's what matters." After a long interrogation at the police station, Olivia and Aiden were taken to a motel. The officer promised to keep watch outside. Entering the room, Aiden sat on the bed, looking exhausted. Olivia felt the same fatigue, but she had to be strong for her son. "Get some rest," she covered Aiden with a blanket. "Mom, I can't sleep," Aiden said in a small voice. "I understand." Olivia sat next to her son. "I feel the same." They were silent for a long time. Eventually, Olivia's phone rang. It was the police. "Mrs. Wilson, we have news," the detective said on the other end. "We've arrested your husband, Robert Wilson. He was found a short distance from the explosion site, and we also arrested a woman named Jennifer Blake who was with him." "Did they confess?" Olivia asked in a trembling voice. "They're still being questioned, but the messages on the tablet are decisive evidence. Also, the cause of the explosion has been determined to be intentional. The gas pipe in the kitchen was deliberately damaged." Olivia nodded. "Thank you," she barely managed to say. After hanging up, she turned to Aiden. "They caught Dad," she said quietly. Relief showed on Aiden's face. "Are we safe now?" "Yes, we're safe." Olivia hugged her son. "Thanks to you." That night they barely slept. By morning, more details emerged. According to the police investigation, Robert had been having an affair with Jennifer for 6 months and had planned to kill Olivia to get her life insurance money of $2 million. They had intended to make the explosion look like an accident caused by a gas leak. "There's one thing I don't understand," Olivia asked the detective. "Why today?" "The timing was calculated," the detective answered. "The hour when you would be tired after your night shift, he thought if a gas explosion occurred, you wouldn't have time to escape. However, thanks to your son's quick thinking, that plan failed." Olivia took a shaky breath. Without Aiden, she would not be alive now. A 12-year-old boy had saved his mother from a malicious trap planned by adults. "What do we do now?" Olivia asked in a small voice. "You can only move forward one step at a time," the detective said gently. "The trial will begin, but the evidence is sufficient. Your safety is guaranteed." Looking out the motel window, the light of a new day was shining in. Olivia's life had collapsed overnight, but one thing was certain: her son Aiden's love and courage. That was the only hope supporting her. In the solemn atmosphere of the courtroom, she stared at Robert's back as he sat in front. Her former husband only slightly dropped his shoulders at the moment the verdict was announced. Jennifer Blake, sitting next to him, received the same sentence: conspiracy to commit attempted murder and insurance fraud. "So, it's over," Olivia murmured softly. The trial had lasted 3 months. During that time, her and Aiden's lives had completely changed. Their house, damaged by the explosion, was deemed beyond repair, and they decided to move to a new town, a new home. Too many memories were packed into that house. Good memories, and now the memories of a terrible betrayal. Leaving the courthouse, Olivia received a stack of papers from her lawyer. "The life insurance is invalid, but the house insurance will be paid in full," the lawyer explained. "Plus, half of Robert's assets will be yours. It should be enough to start a new life." Olivia nodded. Money wasn't a worry. What wouldn't heal were the wounds in her heart. "Mom, let's go," Aiden said gently. Aiden, now 13, had matured suddenly over these months. Receiving counseling and facing the reality of his father's betrayal, he had shown remarkable strength. Their new home was on the opposite side of Michigan in a small town overlooking Lake Michigan. Olivia had transferred to a local hospital, and Aiden had started at a new school. It was difficult at first, but gradually the two were adapting to their new environment. That night, Olivia and Aiden sat on the porch, feeling the gentle breeze from the lake. The starry sky stretched out and the sound of waves was pleasant. "Aiden, I want to tell you something," Olivia quietly began. "What?" Aiden looked up at his mother. "That day when you saved me. You saved my life." She touched her son's cheek. "How did you find such courage?" Aiden thought for a while before answering. "I was scared, but I was more scared of losing you." Olivia hugged her son. His small body had now grown to reach her shoulder. He had inherited his father's height, but his heart was completely different, pure, brave, and full of love. "Even though it's just the two of us, we're still a family." Olivia said, "Yes, a real family." Aiden smiled. During the trial, Robert never truly apologized. He calmly admitted the details of the plan and even tried to justify his actions. "I was stuck," he said. "I needed a new life," he claimed. Olivia tried to understand but couldn't. She too sometimes felt tired in her marriage. But hurting her family was unthinkable, especially Aiden. "Mom, shall we go fishing tomorrow?" Aiden suddenly asked. "My school friend Jacob said there are lots of fish in the lake around here." Olivia laughed. "Sure. Can you get up early?" "Of course," Aiden answered happily. Under the starry sky, they began to talk about future plans. A picnic next weekend, camping during summer vacation, Aiden's next science project. Small dreams and hopes colored their conversation. A year ago, Olivia could not have imagined such a future. Life without her husband. New relationships in a new town. But now she was accepting this change. The wounds remained, but they were gradually healing. "I love you, Aiden." She lightly kissed her son's hair. "I love you too, Mom." Aiden nestled against his mother under the starry sky. Listening to the waves of Lake Michigan, Olivia was experiencing a feeling she hadn't felt for a long time. Peace and hope. Hope for the future. Hope for the future of their small family of two. Stroking her son's head, she smiled quietly. This was their new beginning.